the gentleman from Missouri for yielding. And yeah, this presents a particular interesting conundrum that we do have here. The president has talked about our most important element is to create jobs, and it is. For our people, we need jobs. And I recognize, though, that much of what we have in this budget that you have already mentioned does not create jobs. It actually has a stifling impact on jobs. Some things, though, in which jobs are our responsibility, we also have put a stifling influence just on the decisions we made. Like, this budget is $3.8 trillion. That's a whole lot of money. It's what, 1.6 trillion more than we have. That's a whole lot of money that's going to go there. And in every one of the budgets that takes place, it's about choices. In our own families, we do the same thing. We have certain things we want and certain things we need. My problem with this budget right now, specifically in the areas that I am deeply concerned, is that we have a lot of stuff in here that we want that's being funded, and a lot of things that we need that is not being funded. One of the few constitutional responsibilities we have in this country is defense. Last year, you and I were down here with others very frequently talking about missile defense. It is essential for this country. We cut missile defense. Once again, it was about prioritization. I think, and I believe you thought, we put our priorities in the wrong place. And you don't build a missile without people. When we cut our missile defense program, we took jobs away. Unfortunately, in this particular budget, once again, we go after another kind of missile program, and we have decided to take it out. Simply thinks, I think that's where the speech just went. But what it simply means is this budget decides to go after NASA and take away the Constellation program, and specifically the Ares 1 rocket. Now, I hate to say this, but Time magazine determined what were the 50 best inventions of the year, and the #1 invention was the Ares rocket. This is our process to replace the space shuttle. This is how we are moving into space exploration in the future. And I hate to say this, I think space exploration is one of the core responsibilities of the federal government. But in taking this out, what you are doing is cutting 7,000 jobs nationwide of people involved in space, engineering, math, and science, which once again the president wants to encourage kids to study and go into engineering, science, and math. But we don't have any responsibility of trying to encourage that on the real side. And where the problem comes is the people that make the motors for these rockets make the motors for our missiles. And if indeed let me just get the connect, because you're building up to something here. What you're saying is that there are solid rocket motors that are being built in America, which are very high tech. They're being built by a particular company, and they're used for the space program, but they're also used for something else. Is that correct? In defense. In defense. So it's not just space, it's also our defense. And both of those are core responsibilities of the government, and one that this administration has decided to cut. Which means, and it's not necessarily that there are companies that are making these. There's actually only 2 companies in America that do make those motors. One hasn't made any in a couple of decades. But it is people that do it. When you cut these programs, when you cut the missile defense last year, and you cut this rocket program this year, the people with the expertise that we need to build the defense of this country are going to be gone. They're either going to find another job, or unfortunately they're going to go on unemployment so that we can pay them for not doing their jobs that we need to defend us. This is one of the travesties of this particular budget. And it would be okay with me, perhaps, if they had come up with a new plan, a new role for NASA, something they are going to do to move us forward, but they did not. All they did is simply cut the program, throw people out of work, if it goes through, I should say. I mean, we still have the right to say what it is, but this budget would cut the program, would throw people out of work, and, more importantly, fail for us to defend this country, which is our constitutional responsibility. It would fail to allow this country to move forward in space exploration and in defense, because the industrial base of this country would be gone. The acquisitions guys over in the Pentagon understand it. They say it's not necessarily about jobs, it's about the kinds of jobs. And therefore, it is important for the future of this country to have the right kinds of jobs in the industrial base. And it's not simply a spigot you can turn on when once again we decide, oops, maybe we made the wrong idea and we need more missiles to defend us against the Iranians and the North Koreans and who knows what else might be out there. You can't just pick it up again. If you lose the capability, you lose the capability. And I'm sorry, in this budget, we lose the capability we need to defend this country. It's not just about the amount of money. It's about where we put our priorities. And do we do what we need to do first and then cover the wants? And I'm sorry, we're paying a lot of money for a lot of wants. We're not coming in here for... Let me give you a simple example. If you took what we spent in the stimulus last year for Acorn alone, you could fund this program again and still have close to $2 billion left over.
You know, wait a minute. You're telling me that Acorn program, the one where we've got people going to jail for voter fraud and all kinds of other strange and weird behavior, registering illegals, registering people that don't exist, turning them out to vote, and even on videotapes we see them encouraging people to build brothels and to bring in underage illegal immigrants. That organization, you're saying that funding could be instead directed?
That program got more funding in the stimulus bill that was passed last year than would take to continue on with this program moving forward. Now,
what you've said, and I just want to reinforce, there's a difference between jobs and jobs, is what you're saying. Some of these things are very high-tech kinds of jobs. They require building companies over a good number of years, building capabilities, putting that team together, and you've got to have enough work to keep that team operating, or else they just have to dissipate and go somewhere else. And if we need that capability for the defense of this nation, that, in many of our opinions, is the primary function that we must perform here. There are a lot of other things that might be nice if the federal government did it, but if we have invading armies riding across our country, we're not very effective.
I think you're exactly right, and that's why, in all due respect, this is like a double disappointment to me. Not only are we spending too much and taxing too much, we are not spending it in the right place.
We're not even spending it in the right place.
Our priorities,
that's a very, very visible kind of thing. You can see it. A solid